Forecasting is within the next couple of months, or at least this year. Here we are now, what, 150?
I think the 200 to 250,000 for Bitcoin still makes sense because that would still only value it at 25% of the size of the gold market.
Okay.
So I think digital gold means Bitcoin should be worth over $1 million per Bitcoin, and it could happen in the next few years.
Josh Mandel's next prediction, 444,000 by March 2026. Fidelity's targeting $1 billion per Bitcoin by...
That's when they start piling in. We still need to do like a 8x from here to get 1 million. So maybe 2026. But I don't discount the possibility that we can have a very rapid run-up in the next 6 months.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to Proof of Work, the Bitcoin podcast where I take off my whistle, put down the dodgeballs, and dive headfirst into the world of decentralized money, all through the eyes of a middle school health and PE teacher. This is episode 4, and today we're breaking out the balls. Get your head out of the gutter, not those balls. We're getting about our magic 8 ball. We're talking predictions. Will Bitcoin hit $200,000 this year? $500,000? Or even $1 million? We'll break down all the crystal ball calls, who's saying what, and what's driving it. Plus, I'll give you my very own PE teacher price targets. But before we start guessing, let's hit the Bitcoin pulse. Biggest headline this week: you can now buy Bitcoin ETFs using Apple Pay and Google Pay, thanks to the likes of Fidelity and BlackRock. Yes, Uncle Larry has entered the chat. CNBC's show Mad Money host Jim Cramer said he is going to start buying Bitcoin. He has been against Bitcoin, and I'm not sure if this is a good sign because he is typically wrong on his investments. There are even investment strategies called reverse Cramer, where people do the opposite of what Jim Cramer does, and they have built wealth doing that. ETF inflows are spiking again. Even Vanguard, who's been super anti-Bitcoin, said they're re-evaluating their position. Translation? They're probably buying in secret. And here's the big policy story. According to Bo Hines on X, the president's Digital Asset Working Group just wrapped up its 180-day review. The results were originally supposed to come out this past Tuesday, July 22nd, but now the report will drop July 30th. This report was ordered back in January by President Trump and could provide suggestions to the government for tax-free ways to buy Bitcoin for the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve. What other bullish news will be revealed from this report? We will just have to wait and find out. All right, folks, time to polish up that crystal ball, shake the magic 8 ball, and ask it the real question. Will Bitcoin melt faces? So where are we right now? As of July 24th, 2025, Bitcoin is sitting pretty at around $119,000. Give or take 1,000, depending on whether Elon tweeted anything today. Let's run through the wild, but very real as predictions for where Bitcoin might be headed. Here's what the experts and a few legends are predicting for the end of this year and into the future. Let's start off with Peter Brandt, legendary chart whisperer. He predicts $120,000 to $200,000 by end of this year, 2025. He literally hit the last top. Dude reads charts like I read dodgeball rosters, fast and with zero mercy. He also thinks Bitcoin could become a global reserve currency, and if it does, the sky's the limit for the price. 3 days ago, analyst Tom Lee went on to CNBC's Squawk Box and predicted Bitcoin will be between $200,000 to $250,000 by year's end. Here is a clip of him on the show.
Here we are, 120 basically on Bitcoin, which you used to say at 70, and you know that was a 60% move or something that you were forecasting as within the next couple of months, or at least this year. Here we are now, what, 150?
I think the 200 to 250,000 for Bitcoin still makes sense because that would still only value it at 25% of the size of the gold market.
Okay.
So I think digital gold means Bitcoin should be worth over $1 million per Bitcoin, and it could happen in the next few years. But maybe pricing 25% of that, especially with Genius Act, makes sense.
Again, that was Tom Lee with the $250,000 price prediction by the end of the year and $1 million in a few years. Bernstein analysts raised their forecast from $150,000 to $200,000 by the end of 2025. Why? Insane ETF inflows. It's like the institutions finally discovered cheat codes. Sina Galara, the 21st Capital co-founder, forecasts $136,000 to $285,000 by year-end using the quantile regression models. Giovanni Santostasi, who is a physicist and power law advocate, predicts a peak of $210,000 by January 2026. Long-term, $1 million by 2028 to 2037. Chamath Palihapitiya, billionaire and former Facebook executive, sees Bitcoin hitting $500,000 by October 2025 and $1 million by 2040 to 2042. He's calling Bitcoin the future global reserve currency because of, you guessed it, decentralization and scarcity. This guy once tried to buy the Lakers. When he talks money, I listen. Josh Mandel, known as the Pi Day Prophet, who made headlines when his startling prediction came true. In November of 2024, when Bitcoin was trading around $74,000, Mandel predicted that it would hit $84,000 on March 24th, 2025. His next prediction? $444,000 by March 2026. Either he's psychic or he owns a DeLorean. The Bitcoin maxipreneur Samson Mow thinks we're going to $1 million by the end of 2025. And not gradually, but suddenly. Well, maybe that's slightly changed. Listen to this clip from him a couple of days ago.
I think price is definitely a factor that makes people want to have Bitcoin. So people want Bitcoin at 0.12 million or 0.2 million or 0.5 million, but they don't want Bitcoin when it drops to 0.08 or 0.09. So this is just the way it's been and the way it always will be. People will just get Bitcoin at higher and higher prices, and there will just be less and less Bitcoin available for them because of all these other actors scooping up all available coins. I think this is not yet the rally. I think they'll start waking up at 0.2 million or 200,000 a coin. We're not even close to peak retail awareness or retail mania. But, once you cross that next cognitive threshold of 0.2 M, that's when people think, okay, I'm missing out and I need to get this. And that's when they start piling in. We still need to do like a 8x from here to get 1 million. So maybe 2026. But I don't discount the possibility that we can have a very rapid run up in the next 6 months.
He moved it back to 2026, but hey, I can wait another year if it goes to 1 million. Finally, Fidelity is targeting 200K plus by year-end 2025, and by 2038, $1 billion per Bitcoin. You heard that correct? $1 billion. And if it reaches that, you can bet that I will be hanging up my whistle and gym shoes and trading them in for a yacht and oceanfront home. Now, to the most important forecast out of the bunch, that is, of course, my forecast. My base case by the end of the year, $175,000 to $185,000. My bull case is $300,000 to $325,000. Finally, my moon math case, $750,000 plus by early 2026. Why these predictions? Well, most people in the industry are saying a top of $150,000 by the end of this cycle, and Bitcoin almost never does what the majority thinks it will do. Bitcoin doesn't move in straight lines. It sprints, pauses, then goes full Hulk smash. Buckle up. All right, but real talk for a sec. You ever wonder how these experts come up with these price predictions? The chart looks like a dinosaur tail. That's bullish. $285,000, lock it in. Let's break it down. Chamath, he's a billionaire VC. He probably runs Monte Carlo simulations in his Tesla while sipping bulletproof coffee made with alpaca butter. Peter Brandt? Dude's been trading longer than I've been teaching puberty. He just sees a flag pattern and goes, yup, $200,000. Quant guys like Sina Galara, they use something called quantile regression, which I think is Latin for we did math on vibes. Josh Mandel literally nailed $84,000 on Pi Day. I don't know if he's a time traveler or just the Rain Man of Bitcoin. Either way, someone check his keyboard for cheat codes. Bottom line, everyone's throwing darts. Some are just using fancier dartboards. So take the predictions with a grain of Himalayan sat dust. And remember, the real alpha is showing up every day and stacking with conviction. And now we're going to move to our final segment, Fitness Fit. Let's bring it back to the gym. Think of Bitcoin's price gains like strength training. Every few months, you're pushing a little more weight, but only if you're consistent. Same thing with BTC, it doesn't go up in a straight line. It goes through cycles, grind, rest, explode. That halving back in April, that's your progressive overload. The ETF inflows, that's your protein shake. And FOMO rallies, that's leg day. Painful, but worth it. You're not gonna PR every week, but zoom out, stay consistent, and the chart, and your gains go up. Just like the gym, Bitcoin isn't about timing the market, it's about timing the market. Thanks for hanging out with me on another episode of Proof of Work. If you enjoyed the ride, give us a like, a sub, and maybe yell $1 million in your staff lounge. Catch you next time. And remember, hydrate, keep stacking sats, and stretch those hamstrings. As always, none of the information presented in this podcast is financial advice, and I am not a financial advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Catch you at our next episode.